Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here on our YouTube channel for episode number 861. Today, we are going to be speaking with a young man named Dax Delozier coming to us from Adair, Oklahoma. Lots of interesting stuff in this interview. Everything from homesteading Oklahoma in the late 1800s all the way up to all the different activities he's involved in the FFA today. Fascinating interview. I think you're really going to enjoy it. We're going to get it started for you right now. Well, joining me today is Dax Delozier, and he is coming to us from Adair High School in Adair, Oklahoma, serving as his chapter's sentinel, and third place in beef proficiency in 2020. Is that right, Dax?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
You bet.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. Well, so I said Delozier. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, very good. How are things in Oklahoma today?
They're pretty good. Just a little bit windy outside, so
okay.
all that Sahara Desert sand's coming in, so
I have been reading a little bit about that. It's such a foreign deal to me. We don't. I'm in Idaho. We don't get too many dust storms.
yeah, it's kind of weird. It feels like so.
Does that happen very often, or is this kind of a new thing to you?
It's really, honestly, just a new thing. I've never seen anything like this before. So
Interesting. Well, hopefully it's not another dust bowl. We don't want that to happen in Oklahoma again.
yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, I think our tillage practices are a little bit better these days to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really do appreciate you coming on. What I always like to do is start off the interview by just asking you a few questions about you so our audience can kind of get to know who they're listening to. Is that all right with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Dax, how old are you?
I am 16 years old.
16. And so when you go back to school this fall, will you be a junior?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
So you'll be a junior. And then have you been out of school for a while, or were you able to finish up the school year with the coronavirus going on?
Well, we've been out of school since March 12th, but we were able to finish out school with online learning and Google Classroom and all that stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, we were able to finish it out. It just wasn't the same. So,
Gotcha. And then what about what time of year do you guys have your fair there in Adair?
we have it in the fall. So,
In the fall. So
it's in our county fair is the first week of September, and then Tulsa is usually the end of September, 1st of October. So,
okay.
we weren't hit very hard. None of that's been canceled yet. So, we've
Okay.
been very
So good. They're still hoping to have that. They just canceled our fair just a couple weeks ago, which I thought we were going to be able to have it, but we're not. So now we're scrambling to figure out how it's all going to work for 4-H and FFA and all of that type of stuff. Okay. Now where are you talking to me from? Are you at home?
Yes, sir. I am at my house. So.
Okay. So tell me about home. Are you on a ranch? Are you on a farm? Are you in town? Something in the middle of those two?
So we live on the original Delozier homestead, which was established in 1889. We live here, and we run about 300 head of beef cows. And my grandpa has about 200 head, and then between my dad and my brothers, we have about 100 head. And we run commercial cows and registered Angus cows. And out of those registered Angus cows, we sell bull calves every spring and fall, just to local producers that need bulls and stuff like that. And then we show pigs, and then I have that essay, and then so
you're
kind
all
of busy stuff.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Man, going back to 1889. So is that your dad's grandfather or your dad's great-grandfather?
It would be my dad's great-grandfather.
Your dad's great-grandfather. Very interesting. So came out from where in 1889?
I don't really know where they came out from. I haven't really figured that out, but it's a lot of our land is Indian allotment land and stuff like that.
Okay. So this is going to test my Oklahoma history, but is 1889, is that when they did like the land race and all that type of stuff?
Yes, stuff like that. Yes, sir.
Interesting. Wow, that's some fascinating history, Dax. So going back a long ways, is it the same exact parcel of land, or is it grown? Is it shrunk? How's it changed?
Well, some of it is shrunk, as in being divided up between family members and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. Like the original place was 3,000 acres, and what we have now is around 1,500 acres.
Okay.
So it's shrunk in about half. It's been split up because there was two siblings, and then it got split up between them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. And has everybody pretty much wanted to carry on in the cattle business in agriculture, or have people said, nah, that's not for me?
no, my dad's brother, they show cattle and stuff like that. So we've all pretty well stayed just in the same area. Like you go down our road and almost every house on the right side of the road is a Delozier house.
Okay.
So it's kind of, we have our own little clan out here. So it's
Okay.
a little deal. So
Oh, very cool.
everybody stayed pretty well interested in it and just kept carrying on the tradition. So
Awesome. And how far are you from town?
we're only about 5 minutes, but Adair is not a very big town. So.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know if in Oklahoma this is a bad thing to bring up or not, to talk about tornadoes, but I'm kind of a weather geek, and I've never ever seen one or been around one, and you're probably sitting there going, well, you're lucky, and I get that.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
We've been pretty fortunate not to have any bad tornadoes, but there's been quite a few pass over us and stuff like that. So.
Well, so when I was in college, and this is like 20 some odd years ago, I got a calendar of tornadoes, of extreme weather, and it was all tornadoes. So that's how big a dork I am about this. But
Yeah.
I do remember distinctly that one of the photos was from Adair. I do remember
Really?
that. Yeah. So I've known of your town since about 1996. So a long, long time. But
That's
go ahead.
cool.
Well, I guess so. But hopefully that tornado they had the picture of didn't cause any harm. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I do distinctly remember that. One of the months was a picture of a tornado from Adair. But anyway, there you go. There's our connection. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the FFA?
So I've started in 8th grade. So going into my 11th grade year, I'll be in the FFA for 3 years. So.
Okay, 3 years. What brought you in?
Really, what brought me in was kind of my dad, and I just have always been really interested in like the judging. I started judging when I was around 3rd grade, and really I figured out this is really my niche, and this is probably what I needed to do. And then we have American Farmers and Ranchers Insurance in Oklahoma, and they would put on a speech contest every fall in like the second week in November. And while Dad wrote me a speech my 5th grade year in elementary school, and I got to thinking, I go, man, I did not know how I'm going to get this memorized. Well, I got it memorized. It only had to be 2 minutes. I didn't do a very good job because it was my first time, but once I got out of that room, I go, man, I really enjoy this. And then after that, I just carried on the judging and speech giving, and it just really my dad's pushed me to just be better. And that's really kind of how I found my niche and wanted to pursue the FFA. So.
Okay. Now your dad was getting you into that early because he's an FFA advisor himself, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. So that's obviously worked out for you. It's something that you've been doing, and you're doing a number of SAEs, and now you're serving as your chapter's sentinel. So what is that job? What do you do as a sentinel?
Well, really, we haven't done much because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So, but like the school has allowed us to do a little bit. Like I've helped clean up the show barn and kind of helped to recruit. We go and talk to younger members that are coming into the FFA and kind of get them involved and show them, because most of them coming into the FFA, they all think it's just you got to have an animal to be in the FFA, and that's not true, because you can give speeches and all that other different kind of stuff that they don't realize, and that's kind of what I do as a sentinel and stuff like that, and assist the president and certain things like that. So.
Got it. Okay. And so what made you want to be part of the officer team?
Really is just my niche and love for the FFA and enjoyment being in it. And I thought, man, I could be an officer too. And I go, this might work out as well. And I've ended up being an officer and things like that. So that's kind of what pushed me to be an officer.
Good. So you're going to continue that through your junior year, but are you going to continue it through your senior year, you think, as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Well, Well, I know that your father is one of your FFA advisors. You have two, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
If you could just let everybody know who both of them are so we can acknowledge your FFA advisors.
So one of them is Dax Delozier. He is the Hay Ag teacher, and then his assistant is Shane Johnson. So that's
Okay.
who they are.
Well, thanks for mentioning both of them. And, of course, Mr. Delozier, that's your dad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. How long has he been an FFA advisor, do you know?
I think 22 years.
22 years. Wow. Okay, so longer than you've been around.
Yep. And see, the funny thing is my grandpa was the ag teacher before he was. So.
Is that right? How interesting. Yeah. So, man, your family is all about family legacies, whether it's ranching or teaching ag. There's a lot of family traditions there. Very cool. Well, Dax, I want to take a quick second to acknowledge a couple of our sponsors. Everybody, of course, I want to mention Lacrosse Footwear. You can find them over at lacrossefootwear.com. Always love to mention Lacrosse when we do our FFA episodes because they are so proud to support the FFA by annually sponsoring 15 scholarships along with 100 jackets as part of the Give the Gift of Blue program. We love them here. I wear my Alpha Range boots every single day, whether it's winter feeding or summer irrigating. I had them on just, man, we're wet and muddy here this June, which is weird in Idaho, but just had them on a few minutes ago before I started this interview with Dax out in the mud, and we'd love you to do the same. You can find them at lacrossefootwear.com, and please check them out. You can find them all at your local farm and ranch retailers. And then, of course, Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment, everybody. We love Powder River out here in the West, developed out here in the West with some of the hardest to handle cattle you'll ever find coming in off of public rangelands. And I'll tell you what, I've been to their factory. I've seen how they weld. I've seen how they do their powder coating. And you cannot get finer livestock handling equipment than Powder River. And we use their squeeze chutes and their cattle panels right here on my farm in Idaho, and we want you to do the same. Make sure you let your local farm and ranch retailer know you want to see that Powder River green out in their sales yard so you can also buy the finest in livestock handling equipment, and you can find them over at powderriver.com. All right, well, Dax, let's jump back in. I'd love to hear about all these different supervised agricultural experiences you've been doing.
So one of my first ones that I have is a beef entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And that is where I have about 30 registered Angus cows. And what I do is I have about 15 spring and 15 fall. And so each spring, each fall, we wean those calves, and the percentage, however many bull calves we have, we keep them bulls, make sure they work out, and then we'll sell bulls, we'll get them semen checked, and then we sell them to local ranch producers and stuff like that. And then we have where we sell all of our weaned calves at, they have a special cattle sale, and in whatever bulls we don't sell here locally, we'll send up there and we'll sell there.
Okay.
And then the other one that I have is a beef placement where I work for my grandpa on our 300 cow operation. I help him bale hay, without hay in the winter, feed calves, feed cows, work cows, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I sell show supplies through they're out of Morris, Oklahoma. They're B5 Enterprises and show supplies, and I sell show supplies to local people, and then I go to shows and stuff, and I have a trailer and I set up there, and so I do that. And then also I work at our vet clinic here in Pryor, Oklahoma, and I work out in the cattle barn underneath one of the head vets there at Pryor. And that's kind of what I've strived to do, is I'd like to be a vet when I get older. So I'm just learning how to operate a clinic, give all the proper shots, work cattle and stuff like that. And I've really enjoyed that. I work on Saturdays from 7:30 to noon. And so that's all my SAEs pretty much.
Wow. Yeah. You sound busy to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the registered herd really quick. So this is where you said you're partnered with your dad and your brother, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so you guys are partnered up on that, and has registered cattle always been part of what you've done on the ranch, or is this something that started with you guys?
No, they have not. We've always my dad, when he was a kid, they had commercial Herefords.
Uh-huh.
Well, then they started buying Angus bulls, and I kind of got in the Angus deal, and really we didn't start doing having registered cows until I first started showing. and we figured out that the registered Angus cows were so productive, and that's what we need to implement in our herd to make them that much better.
Okay.
And we got to look and we go, well, we can sell these bull calves for so much more for a higher premium than what we can these steer calves. And he goes, and Dad, we got to doing our homework and stuff, and we thought, man, this would be so much better for operation if we could implement this into there.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what kicked it off, and it's just grown since then. So.
Okay, very cool. So that's grown, and is there a name for your registered side of your business?
Well, it's what the original ranch name is, Lazy D Ranch. So
okay.
That's what it is. That's our brand and stuff. So.
Okay, Lazy D Ranch, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing that, and you mentioned pigs in there somewhere too.
Yes, so I show pigs in the spring and fall, and so that kind of started when my dad was a kid. They had about 50 sows when he was a kid, and they raised hogs. And had a bunch of sows around, and so I kind of got the niche, and we don't raise hogs anymore, but we buy and show them and stuff like that. So we show them at our county and at Tulsa, and then in the spring we have the Oklahoma Youth Expo, and so we show at that as well. So
wow, very cool. Okay, so tons of livestock stuff going on, plus working for Grandpa and doing all that. Now, is Grandpa paying you a wage, or do you get to like lease ground in exchange for your labor? I mean, how's that all working?
No, he pays me. So when we work cows, he'll pay me per head on that. And then like when we bale hay, per bale, or how many bales I haul when we haul square hay and stuff. So I get paid a wage.
Okay. And you've also got this entrepreneurial venture going on with this show supply trailer. Tell me more about that.
Yes. So we have there is a kid that is our state FFA president right now. He started this B5 show supplies. They reached out to him and they go, hey, we want you to sell show supplies to this. Well, he's graduated now, and they were looking for somebody to sell show supplies. So my dad told him, he goes, and I was really interested in it because I knew he was making pretty good money because he gets 10% of whatever he sells.
Okay.
And so I got really interested in that. And so after I got a show supply trailer here at my house where people will call me just out of the blue and go, hey, I need this. I'll get it ordered for them, or I have it in my trailer and I'll sell it to them. So it's been a pretty profitable deal for me, and I've really enjoyed it. So
very cool. What was the name of the young man that you got the business from?
Tanner Taylor is his name. Okay,
very cool. So now how many weekends a year, how many days a year are you taking the trailer out and setting it up and doing all that?
Really, it's usually Saturdays. It's like in the spring, I only had it a couple of Saturdays, but this is my first year having it, so I really haven't got to. And what it is my bosses, they'll tell me, hey, there's a show this weekend. We won't be able to make it. Can you go here? And I'll go and sell show supplies at those shows and things like that. So.
Very cool. Well, good for you.
Wherever they tell me to go. So.
Okay. So what's it like? What do you enjoy having your own business and going out and kind of doing things? You know, it's different than working with cows, right? You're face to face with people and selling products.
Yeah. And really it's helped me in like my people skills and like socially, like how to talk to people, how to tell them, and how to like, really it's kind of advertising my product and showing them what works and what doesn't work and kind of explaining it. Really, my knowledge in the livestock industry has really helped me also because I can share with people like on the hog and cattle stuff. I can tell them, hey, this is what we're using. This works really well. And then kind of help them, lead them in the right direction to show them what works for us. And so that's really helped me. So.
Yeah, when you're actually using the product that you're selling, it makes it very easy to sell it because you can talk all about how you use it, right?
Yes.
Yes, not just theoretical. That's great. Very cool. Okay, so what draws you towards being a veterinarian? What is it that attracts you about that?
Really what attracts me is just I really enjoy being around animals, and like I love working cattle and stuff like that, and I just really enjoy that kind of stuff. And I thought, man, this is really what I want to be when I got older. And then I started realizing, man, this is enjoyable. And like even since I started working at the vet, seeing all the cool stuff they do and things like that, getting to go on farm calls and helping the vets and stuff, I'm like, man, this is really something I want to do. And that's really drawn me closer to wanting to be a vet. But it was really instilled in me like at a younger age, working cattle and stuff and giving shots and tagging cattle and stuff. I go, man, there's got to be a job for this. It's really enjoyable. And it ended up being a vet, and I go, man, this is what I want to do. So
that's great. So it's interesting because you're already very busy. You're already making money from your own cattle business. You're making money working for Grandpa. You're making money selling the show supplies. Did you take the job at the vet's office simply so you could be around it, or did you take it because you wanted to make even more money?
Well, really, Seth Best, the kid that you had on here earlier.
Yeah.
His dad is really good buddies with the vet, Clint Gardner, and my dad's known him for a while too.
Okay.
And so we were working cattle one day, and he goes, kind of, what do you want to be? And I go, well, I want to be a vet. He got to talking to me. He goes, and his son Clint's son had worked for him before. Well, his son was getting older, and he's graduated high school, and he's off to college and stuff. And he goes, man, and he would tell Dad this when he'd come in the vet clinic. He goes, man, I just really need somebody to help me around here, because his assistant would be off every other Saturday. And he goes, well, I don't have any help on those Saturdays. He goes, man, Dax wants to be a vet. He goes, man, I really would like for him to come and work for me. And so I go, okay. And so I took that job, and I thought, man, it'd be a good opportunity for me to learn what a vet is. And it helped me through college too, because I'd see stuff and already know what to do. Like I've learned how to preg check cattle already, and just he's shown me that kind of stuff. And so it's just really helped me and grown in aspects like the cattle and knowing what to do with cattle now. So it's really helped me a bunch. So.
Very cool. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, so I think it was just last Friday. So let's see, your episode's coming out quite a bit later. Let me get this episode number for you. I did an interview with a gentleman from the Army talking about getting vet school paid for by being a veterinarian in the Army. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yes, I have. I've heard a little bit about it, but not very much. So
let's see. So episode number 844 of the Off-Farm Income Podcast is that one there. If that's something that interests you, or getting vet school paid for that way, we talked quite a bit about it in that episode. So it's an option for you either way.
Yeah.
Either way. Yeah, very cool. Well, good for you. So vet school, so I mean, if you've kind of got this pathway in mind, do you know where you want to go to college once you finish up with high school?
I'd like to attend OSU, Oklahoma State University. That's where I'd like to go and attend. That's where all my parents have went, and then the vet I work for, he went there. So I thought, man, that's probably the place I need to go. So
okay, very cool. Well, man, that's exciting to hear about. I'm excited for you in your future. I mean, it doesn't matter what direction you go. To me, it's all cool. Registered cattle, commercial cattle, running your own business, being a veterinarian. It's all very, very exciting. I'd love to ask your advice for other students out there, Dax, if they've got a lot of different interests like you do. How can they be, I guess, efficient enough with their time to take advantage and kind of get involved in all of them the way you have?
Really, what I just say to them is just keep doing what you're doing, because, I mean, you just got to narrow your stuff down and just figure out what you're going to do in the FFA and just keep on going, because, I mean, if you slow down, you're just going to lose all that stuff, and you just got to keep going, just keep grabbing a lower gear and just keep going, and just make sure you keep your sights on what you want to be when you get older, and just keep your confidence in yourself and keep doing what you enjoy to do is what I'd tell them. So.
Well, I think that's great advice. I love the part about grabbing a lower gear. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what my dad says all the time. So.
That's great. Well, Dax, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you all for being here. Special thanks to Dax Delozier for joining us today. And as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.